Welcome back to Cryptopia, where we go over the wet and wild happening in NFT land. Don't forget to like and subscribe on your way in today. Mutant Shiba Club. So this project, if you haven't heard about it, it's pretty big. It's getting even bigger. A lot of people are hyped about it. They're looking and waiting for the mint, which comes out March 30th. That's the whitelist, and then March 31st. So, in a few days or a couple days, depending on when you see this video. So pretty hyped project, and we're just gonna take a look at it and see if it's kind of worth all the hype. So the pack is growing according to this. It's a 10,000. It's animated, which I love. I've said this before in a few other videos, but I have to keep saying it again because the animated NFTs are my personal favorite. They were when there was very, very, very few out at the very beginning of sort of NFTs coming about, and they're still my favorite now. I just think that's a cool, you have the technology, why not do it? So there's 10,000, they're animated, and quickly going over the story, there are kind of three stages to the arcs that they have here: the transmogrification, the quest, and the ascendancy. So I won't go too long into this. The idea, basically, the transmogrification is that they were at war with these Goaty collective of people or enemies. Not really sure what they are. They might be other dogs. They might be cats. I don't know. The Goaty collective. And they created this serum that basically enhanced their physical and mental abilities, which created the mutants that they became. They defeated the Goaty. And at first, people were really happy about this. Happy about them. They were praised, they were celebrated, but eventually, time passed and people kind of forgot the reason that they were here, and now they're just sort of feared and they look kind of disgusting sometimes in the regular Shiba community, right? The regular Shiba people of this particular world, they didn't see them as, normal anymore, or the heroes that they were descended from. So then you have the Ascendancy. So essentially what created these is that they had a bunch of these crystals that were used to create the serum. They split the crystal into 7 pieces. Why didn't they just destroy it? I don't know. They sent it across the world or wherever. Eventually, thousands and thousands of years go by. People have been collecting them. And finally, after having the 6th one, they have the 7th one, which brings us to the Ascendancy. People are waiting. They're enthused. They cannot wait to see what's going to happen next. There's half the mutants want to ascend to their next stage of perfection, and the other half want to turn normal and reverse what has been done to them. And that's pretty much it. So we're currently at the Ascendancy stage. This stuff is whatever, it doesn't really say too much. It's just sort of building a community, getting it together. The benefits are going to be, they have the traditional benefits of merchandise, collaboration, social events, stuff individual in the metaverse, stuff outside the metaverse, commercial rights to the NFT that you have, and some more. And then the antidote is basically, what's going to happen next. So this, once the theorem has been reconstructed and distributed to those who deserve it, and you don't know what's going to happen next. They'll probably create this separate NFT thing where you provide it to, and you can kind of combine it with your current Mutant Shiba and sort of, evolve it into its next stage. I think that's kind of the idea that they're going for with it, and that's pretty cool. So the alpha team, the rest of the team is the Discord team. I'm not really going to go over them, and there's really nothing to go over here once you get past Barry. So there's a Barry, there's a Brett Barry, and so Brett's the creative lead and the artist, and I guess he's technically a co-founder as well, I believe. So I don't know if I already mentioned that here. And then you have all these guys. I think, well, they're all co-founders technically. They're all collectively working together. The problem that I have is that these 3 are not mentioned really anywhere. They do have some articles with interviews, but it doesn't really showcase who these individuals are. It does showcase Barry a little bit more, and he's pretty much doxed. So here's his Instagram. This is Barry the artist, and you can see this is Barry right here. And he's an artist. He's a photographer in this. He's got some really beautiful shots actually right here that you can see. But we can go over to his LinkedIn. It's not too hard to find his LinkedIn. It's not connected on their website, which I wish it was, but it doesn't matter. You can just easily Google it and find him. And he's the co-founder at Douglas Taylor. So, he's been doing this for about 8 years and 7 months, so a significant amount of time. He's also been the creative director at a couple places and whatnot. And he was an actor and a model. I could believe that. Good looking guy, looks pretty fit. But predominantly what he's had, what he's been working on has been, from 8 years to now. And if we go over to their website, here is Douglas Taylor. And again, there's Barry. So Douglas Taylor is this brand photography filmmaker, kind of this photography company, advertising photography company. There we go. That's what I'm trying to say. There it is. Yeah. So it's an advertising photography company, and they work with a bunch of different places. NBA, whatever is going on here. Hopefully I don't get tagged for that. But they've worked with, a bunch of brands, as you can see here. And also in the LinkedIn, it does mention stuff like Ubisoft is kind of the big one that sticks out to me, but they have a bunch of other places. So one of the things I really like about this project is that they're all animated. So they look really sick, and they have some really cool art. Like Barry's behind the art, and it looks really dope. It's pretty impressive. But that's kind of it. So the hype around this project, they've built a pretty good community, and I think that's piggybacking off the idea of the whole Shiba Inu Dogecoin, fame or whatever you want to call it. Those are what it is mentioned in an article that when they picked this one, it was because the Shiba is pretty prolific in the crypto space. So, working with that and creating sort of this cool looking project that I do think looks really, really dope, kind of went hand in hand and created the, immediate attraction to people, and then kind of fostered the growth of their community, which is pretty active in the space. So what they promise, nothing new really. They're going to have they didn't mention the metaverse stuff, but they'll have some metaverse stuff involved, I'm sure, in the future. But merchandising, commercial rights, etc., things like that you've heard every other NFT project promise. Can they do it? The only two questions I always ask is if they have the people behind it to do it, and if they, if the community's there, right? So the community, I think, is definitely there, 100%. Now, the people behind it, that one's a little hard. I hate the fact that they really don't dox anybody else. It's just Barry. But, Barry's been running a company for 8 years, or he's a co-founder of a company, and he's, done pretty well for himself in that way. You can even see sort of his other photography stuff. He's, really good at what he does. And, he goes to these pretty exotic places, which I'm sure cannot be cheap. Probably a business expense, but still all the same, I'm going to say he's a pretty successful guy in what he's trying to do and what he has done. And I really think this project is going to, take off. I think it could be really good. Now, there's 10,000 of them, so that's a pretty hefty amount. But I think I think this particular project, 10,000 is kind of good. A lot of people can get into it. I would like to own one of these as well. What they're going to do in the future, who the fuck knows? They don't really have much of a roadmap. It's just sort of like the antidote. It's sort of the future. So, I know the whitelist mint for this is 0.16 ETH, which isn't bad at all. So I'm like, I would like to actually see if I can get my hands on this. I probably won't end up on the whitelist for this at all. But just because I found out about this so much later. So I didn't even try. But the public mint, which comes on the 31st, I don't think it'll sell out right away at all. So there should be hopefully some up to grab there, and hopefully the mint price isn't insane, because I think this is a pretty cool project. I think it looks cool. I just wish I had a proper roadmap to kind of determine what you're trying to really do. Again, they just mentioned the generic stuff, which is fine. With a project like this, with the community and sort of the hype surrounding the whole Shiba Inu stuff, you could actually make this into something pretty crazy. So anyways, guys, that's kind of all I got for this project. I think it's cool. I wish there was way more information to go off of. Maybe post mints, I can make a follow-up, an update video I'd like to do. And then that way we can kind of see like, okay, things have been revealed. What's the next step? So we'll see where that goes. If you like the video, like down below, leave a comment. What do you think about this? You guys know anything else that I may have missed. Maybe they mentioned in some sort of article I didn't get a chance to read with a little bit more detail. If so, let us know down below. If not, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.